Hi, it's me, Karen Romano Young, back again with another chapter of A Girl, a Raccoon, and the Midnight Moon, with pictures by Jessixa Bagley and published by Chronicle Kids in 2020. Someone who's been listening and watching asked if they could see Alice again, so I'm back in the corner with Alice the giraffe and some sea stars from Alaska to read you chapter 23, Watchers. Still, September 29th. Later that afternoon, a kerfuffle in the circ area struck Pearl's ears, a clamor of loud, excited voices. Bruce was there, and Mom, and Oleg. As Pearl came in the back, Nichols came in the front. Bruce spread out his arms to them both, beaming. "Ahead! Ahead! My kingdom for a head!" Bruce announced. "What are you talking about?" Oleg glowed. He said, "The stonemason I found at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. Your mom wrote her a letter, and I took it to her. And I showed her that photographer's photographs in the paper, and she said yes. She agreed to carve Vincent a new head." Mom said, "I'm going to send Jonathan Yoicks a note," and turned away. Pearl barely heard her. She was demanding of Oleg, "Who's going to pay for that?" "Pearl," said Bruce, "cool it. Oleg's being a big help." He shook his head at her and went up the stairs. Feeling scolded, Pearl turned and went out to the garden. But Oleg followed. "Wait, but Pearl, the stonemason is going to do it for free." "What? Why would she?" "Nobody's about to let her carve anything's head at the cathedral," said Oleg. "She's an apprentice, so she'll do it for free, for the chance." Again Pearl said, "Why?" "Look, it'll be in the paper, right?" Oleg went on. "So it'll be good for her. And good for the library. Isn't that the theory?" "Yes," said Pearl slowly. "That's the theory." She still couldn't stand the thought of a new Vincent. "You know that picture on the lost head poster?" Oleg asked. "That's the original Vincent, right? Should I send that to the stonemason to copy?" "She'll never get it right," said Pearl. Oleg stopped moving as suddenly as if she'd hit him. Then he looked away and stepped onto the bricks, edging Vincent's pedestal, and ran his fingers over the smooth, warm granite. Pearl felt sorry all of a sudden. Oleg cared about Vincent too, even if it was for different reasons. "You really think a new head is a good idea?" asked Pearl. "She's doing it for nothing," Oleg said again. It seemed to really matter to him that Pearl was on his side. "It's not just for fame or money. She wants the experience of replicating the head." "I'm worried Vincent will never look the same," said Pearl. But she found it impossible not to like how much Oleg liked the statue, even if it was just a piece of stone. "Hang on a second." Her eyes narrowed. Could he have planned it this way? "Was it you?" she asked. "Did you steal the head so you could get to replace it?" For a moment, it was as if Pearl's whole brain stood on its tiptoes, stretching, reaching. Oleg's knees seemed to cave, and it wasn't just drama. He really was shocked at her accusation. He sat down on the edge of the pedestal and stared up into her face, devastated. "Of course not," he said. She believed it. Oleg was too sincere, too real. Real was real. She decided to trust herself on this one, which meant trusting Oleg. "Sorry," she whispered. She would have liked to reach out, but was too shy to take his hand. But he put his hand up to her, and she had to pull him up. He didn't just stand. He leaped to his feet. "You've got superpowers," he said, and flexed his own bicep at her. "Whoo!" He was nice, and she was mortified. "I didn't mean to call you a thief," she said again. "Okay, if you did," he said, "but I'm not like that." "I know," she said. He waved as he walked away. Yes, she believed him. But these were slippery times in Pearl's mind. Whether Vincent got a new head or got her old head back, the question of the criminal tendencies would not go away. Who had taken it, and why? And now, even now, when some new people were coming to the library thanks to the moon, was there still someone out there who wanted to do Vincent harm? "Mr. Nichols?" Pearl slid in alongside the atlas, wedging herself between the shelf and the corner. There was something she had to know, even if it brought up the whole question of his sleeping place again. "Yep." His eyes were half closed. What do you think about Vincent getting a new head? Seems like progress, said Nichols. He folded the moon over his chest. Mr. Nichols, she whispered, were you sleeping in the garden the night the head was stolen? His eyes opened all the way. He said, yes. Why didn't you tell me? Pearl's mind whirled. Do you know who took it? He nodded. Her voice was hardly audible. Do you know where the head is now? He shook his head. Will you tell me who took it? He shook his head again. She exploded. Why not? Mom called from the cert counter. Pearl! Nichols opened the paper and hid his face. Why not? Pearl whispered hotly. She thought she might cry. It was dark, he murmured. I can't be sure, so don't ask any more. In a more normal voice, he added gently, I don't want to have to lie to you. He put down the paper and bent in her direction, but she pulled away, her back pressing against the atlas shelf. How could you just let somebody do something that hurts the library? Asked Pearl. The library has worse things wrong with it than the missing head of a statue, said Mr. Nichols. Like what? Pearl's voice was rising again. Nichols held up his hands. Even if everything was the way it should be, and circulation was up, and the library had zillion-speed internet, and it was a great neighborhood, there would still be the question of this building here. What do you mean? She whispered. There is a building code in this city, Nichols said. He touched the fingertips of his hands together, thumb to thumb, pinky to pinky. A building code is a set of rules for safe buildings. This library is in violation all over the place. The glass floors, the iron railings, the fire escapes, the width of the doors. He stopped, his clear gray eyes looking firmly into Pearl's, not to mention the wild animals. Are we supposed to fix all those things? It sounded to Pearl like just about everything in the library was in violation. Yep, and that takes money. Well, the city has money. Not much money. And that bad publicity you've been hearing about, from the head being stolen, that's the kind of thing that makes the city nervous to spend money. He closed his eyes as if he was done talking and wasn't going to say any more. But that's not the whole story, Pearl protested. We're not just some village of criminals. Nichols opened his eyes. He sat forward and took her hands. I know it breaks your heart, and you're not the only one who feels that way. But I'm here to tell you that even when the bottom falls out of something, you can keep going. If you want to feel really depressed about your prospects of fixing something, listen to a friend when he tells you he's been there before and gotten through it, and have that person be a lonely man with no job or home. It did not exactly fill Pearl with confidence, but it did not make her want to give up. Nichols leaned back in his chair, waiting. Then he exhaled softly and said, without looking at Pearl, in a very soft voice, just do your best. He opened his eyes a slit and said deeper, and think more about the raccoons. What do you mean by that? Use what you know. He put his fingers to his lips. He lifted the paper up again. He was done talking. What did that mean? Use what you know. The raccoons? Was he trying to say the raccoons had stolen the head after all? Pearl was done with this theory. It was impossible. Pearl went behind the cert counter and leaned her head on her mother's back between her shoulders. Mom, she murmured, Mom, Mr. Nichols says he knows who took Vincent's head. Does he know where the head is? No. Pearl didn't expect Mom to leap into the air and yell gadzooks, but she didn't expect her to just stand there calmly stamping cards for books due 3 weeks ahead, October 21st, Halloween. 1 month away was the date Mom and Alice had named for the new head ceremony. It would be a neighborhood party, or maybe nobody would come but yoiks to document the library's doom. Clunk bump. She didn't see how Mom could keep her cool. No, but Mom, if you could get Mr. Nichols to tell us, we could grab that person and make them... Pearl, do you really think Mr. Nichols wants to report anything to the police? Oh, no, Pearl realized. That would make more trouble for him. This stopped her completely. We've got a new head coming now, and that means good press, said Mom. Clunk bump, clunk bump, clunk bump. Ramon is working on improving internet service. You and I are working on circulation, and Francine too. Alice and Simon and I are working on a couple things for the Halloween new head ceremony. And Bruce, bless Bruce, he is still running the numbers and applying for grants like a crazy man. For all I know, there's some magic glue out there that can stick all these pieces together. You know what I told you, Pearl Girl. We're not going to look back on this time and regret anything we didn't do that could have made a difference. Let's keep doing everything we can. A sidebar about publicity. Some people think any publicity is good publicity, whether what's being said about you is good or bad. They think the point is to get somebody thinking about you, to let them know you exist. It's what somebody does once they start thinking about you that's more concerning. By M.A.M. Thanks for listening. See you tomorrow. Bye.